First thing is that delusion is present in the mind. We have to remove the delusion. So it is purely an intellectual process. What is intellectual process? Then I have to start thinking. There should be a chain of the thoughts to recognize, to become aware of the delusion. And the moment you become aware, the delusion goes away. Remember, when I said it is basically an intellectual process, it means it is a thinking process. So again, thinking versus non-thinking. Now compare. So when we are in a non-thinking mode, or mind is a non-thinking mode, our mind is getting obsessed with the past impressions, memories, false assumption, then the delusion takes over. So then you have an answer that when can I do the practice to remove the delusion all the time? Thinking and continues. The problem of delusion, just we say that being confused about reality and pick up only one thing, seeing happiness in other things rather than within, seeing peace outside than within. That causes the problem. Delusion arises from ego. Again, just remember one thing, delusion arises from ego, it may arise from desire, it may arise due to ignorance, covering our true nature. So, can I become aware? Oh, I'm upset with you. Oh, it is because of the delusion. I'm excited. Ah, I will get peace and happiness from you. It is the delusion. It prevents seeing the real. It prevents seeing the real. Then ask yourself how the delusion can be removed. Delusion can be removed by self awareness. So, the moment you are aware, you question your self assumption. Lot of self assumptions are there. Meditation, self inquiry, it can be removed by non attachment, and it can permanently be removed by consistent listening and learning, contemplation and reflection. And it can also be removed by experiencing, consciously experiencing the sense of oneness. Now ask yourself to where the delusion affects. Where the delusion affects. Delusion affects all areas of the life, all areas, relationship, work, my perception about people, things, belief. It distorts our view of the world. It totally distorts. Be alert. Storm of the delusion when it takes over. If we are not alert, it can take over our mind. Delusion often arises when you are experiencing lows and highs, reactions, anger, agitation. We get caught up in emotional responses. I'm talking to you just now. There is no need to get emotional. So when we get caught in the emotional responses, we feel we are sensitive. And then we say, don't touch me, I'm very sensitive. Then why you are talking to me? No, we don't ask this question. No, I have to talk to you. So there are, you can find out daily hundreds of examples, or even attachment to someone, even attachment to the wealth, attachment to the wealth, a sense of greed comes. We want a repeat desire. Lust. All these, lust also is cause of the delusion. Now you see that attachment and lust strengthens our ego. What to do? That is what the master says, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj Govindam is a recognition. I have been telling you, when we say basically literal meaning of Bhaj Govindam means the worship the Govinda. Govinda is the name of the master, the greatest master, or who is equivalent to the God. So, oh, should we worship God? No, worship is a recognition. Here, what we say, the worship is a recognition of the higher consciousness in us as compared to the lower consciousness. Lower consciousness, delusion. Higher consciousness, Bhaj Govind. How can I recognize the higher consciousness? You are in calm and peace. Calmness and peace is guided by the higher consciousness. Agitation, anxiety, duality, conflict that is coming from outside as I feel is lower consciousness. So this master has given one word, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam. When you are going to meet someone, new one, when you are in a new situation, you find a new condition, the world is constantly changing. Today your body is very healthy and today there are some discomfort. We should not get agitated. So there are millions of delusions. The more you first you listen to it, you note it down, and you contemplate and reflect. So your mind will remain in that state of contemplation. It will remain in the conscious thinking mode. So conscious thinking mode is a higher consciousness as compared to lust, as compared to attachment. I believe that you can make it out easily. It's not a big deal. So delusion is a confusion about the reality. Confusion about the reality. It is seeing happiness in outer things. Like it may be an object, it may be people, it may be events, it may be relationship, rather than realizing peace and happiness within. And there begins the suffering. Suffering continues then. Another way to look at the delusion. Do you have a sense of anxiety, feeling of anxiety, worries, dualities, conflict, repeated thoughts of blame and complaint? You are in delusion. Just a recognition. I said, recognition. And I told you that it is purely an intellectual process. I have to constantly think over it. If I don't think over it, or I think in an opposite way, I constantly blame and complain, react, enter into anxiety, duality, and a conflict. So obviously, I'm already in the pit of a delusion. Frustration, loneliness also include that frustration, loneliness, boredom, mental pain, emotional distress. They all causes unwanted worries, problems in the mind. What happens, whenever you have these symptoms, it your attitude change. Do you see that? Our attitude changes. And that attitude says that, I have a lot of problems. What should I do? Jump into the ocean. What you can do? Or do the Bhaj Govinda. No, don't jump into the ocean, otherwise disclaimer is there. Become aware when you are feeling low, high, reaction, upset, angry, agitated. So what you're doing, you're consistently listening and learning. and you pick up these principles. So what will happen? Every time you are dictated by the delusion, your mind will pick up one or the other principle and you will get out of the delusion. Sometimes, for some, it takes time, for some, it happens very fast. Can I maintain the status quo of that calmness and peace? Means I'm living within. I cannot maintain that calmness and peace 24/7 within because my mind is not living within. My mind is living outside. So when the mind is living outside, it has to be attached to someone. It has its strong likes and dislikes. And that is the reason we get. So in the very first verse, if you remember, Master says that life is so short. Why to follow the foolishness of the mind? So delusion is equated to the foolishness. What is that foolishness? Again, same thing. Emotional dependence, intellectual fantasy. What is that intellectual fantasy? Again, I'm redefining it again and again. It means that the wrong capacity to derive false pleasure, pain from a situation, people, and relationship. So I have to ask myself, is this situation causing me the stress? Is the situation chasing me? Is the person chasing me? Is the relationship chasing me? Answer is big no. So I raise my level of awareness. Otherwise, what happens? Our habitual mind extracts pain. It extracts the pleasure from outside. Our mind extracts pain and pleasure as a wrong notion from everything, from the job, from the profession, from the relationship. And it becomes such a big project in the life of people. But then we become a non-seeker. Then you don't want to listen to it because these impressions become so strong in your life, in your mind, you don't want to listen. No, you don't know, how that guy gave me too much of pain, and that is why I did this, that is why I'm blamed. It is so deep inside you. It goes deep inside you. And that delusion gives you different layers of the ignorance, and that ignorance causes endless suffering in our life. It may be, now return again. Pay attention, I'm just giving you different perception. So it may be due to strong likes and dislikes. It may be due to attachment and detachment. It may be due to, desire, hesitation, repeat desire. We did it in self-inquiry, if you remember. There is a desire, causes the hesitation. Desire is fulfilled. It wants a repeat desire. And all these things builds ego. Ego is selfish. And that selfishness again returns to the delusion. That is how our master defines it. Every day you wake up in the morning, the first thing master says, close your eyes even for 5 minutes. Just do nothing. Maintain your awareness. See that how fresh you are. And start thinking about it, how this freshness and the calmness after a sound sleep has come. It has come from within you. And the moment you wake up, at least if you maintain your awareness for a couple of hours, your mind does not want to go outside. If it wants to go outside, then you can easily become aware. So if you make it a habit, maybe 5-10 minutes, you will see. So what is going to happen? The false assumptions and the notions do not enter into your mind. That is one way to do it. Or or you wake up in the morning and you question your false assumption the previous day. Any event of duality, any event of conflict. Why? Because I want to maintain that level of awareness. Another definition I gave you of Bhaj Govindam, I live in higher awareness. What is lower awareness? All the factors that causes the delusion. Meditation, definitely, that is how to remove the delusion. Meditation is one of the very effective ways. But meditation practice should go together with the knowledge, with understanding. Otherwise, this attachment, this anxiety, this delusion will not go. So that is why you see many scientists have published many papers on meditation, that meditation may be dangerous, because I don't have a clear understanding. For me, meditation is a hallucination. Then obviously it will cause delusion. So I have to be very clear. That's why I never push you. I say understand it clearly and do the practice with clear understanding. Self-inquiry. That is what is, whether you say self-inquiry, whether you say you remove the false assumption. Then another, one master guide says, practice non-attachment. In the evening or in the morning, if you are practicing non-attachment in the morning, so look your life the previous day. How many times you got little upset, you had a negative feeling. There must be an element of attachment and detachment. Or late in the evening, once you are going to the bed, you can start, just, let me see. Did I get upset with a situation, with a person, with a relationship? And you will see. You will become awake. You will awaken to it. That is the meaning of the Bhaj Govindam. I gave another meaning: seek, remember, repeat, relive, reclaim what we are. Bhaj Govindam. Bhaj Govindam. My perception becomes false. Perception means mind with the 5 sense organs. So what happens, I'm aware, my mind is looking at you, so what happens? What is that false perception? Pay attention to it. What I'm saying, I look at any person, my mind triggers some thoughts. Oh, I have met this guy and he did not treat me very good. Oh, it is because that he is crazy. Now these thoughts are going on into my mind. This is what we mean by I'm living at a lower level of awareness. That is another meaning. We Americans say judgmental. So I have to replace being judgmental to being, do you remember, discernment. Instant, no. I need not to worry about it. I need not to live anywhere. Discernment. That guy is different and separate from me. Instantly you become aware. Your ego will dissolve. Discernment is separation. Judgmental is that I prefer to brand you as a with good and bad, with the likes and dislikes, with attachment and detachment. So the entire journey of the Eastern wisdom starts and ends with the discernment. Why? Discernment leads to dispassion. Dispassion is opposite of attachment. I started a new way because I want you to go a little deeper. So the verse number 1, when I look at it, verse number 1, it says the life is short and death can come at any unexpected moment. I need not to live in the delusion. I have to see the world as it is. I don't see the pleasure in the world or any possession in the world. Possession of anything in the world does not lead me to peace and happiness. So if I am stick to the possessions, it will cause lot of problems. Again, I'm remembering. You just remember and don't forget it. The meaning of the Bhaj Govindam, literal meaning, is worship. Worship the Govinda. But when we contemplate and reflect, what exactly is the worship here? The worship is a cognitive ability to know you are separate from anxiety, duality, confusion, suffering. It's a cognitive ability. So once I recognize, even when you repeat it is Bhaj Govindam, I'm repeating internally, I have started thinking where I am attached, whether it is honey, relations, person, situation, condition. So it helps me to rise in awareness. So this is the process of discernment, not judging. So if I start judging, then if I blame you and if I have a complaint against you, then that complaint creates a lot of impressions. Intellectual fantasy starts. So regularly remembering, living the life consciously, that is another way. Living from a moment to moment. And another way I just discussed that seeking happiness and peace in possession, in situations, in relationship, in anything outside should send an alarm to my mind. No. Why it should send an alarm? Because I'm a seeker. I'm a seeker. My goal is very high. I want to recognize and realize and awaken to that real self. There can only be, out of the two, there can only be one I. So one I pertains to the ego and the one I pertains to the real I. So when I use the I am teaching you even. So there is a real I and there is a false I. What we need a discernment here also. We don't need a judgment. And that is what the verse number 3 we discussed. The egoistic sense of self-importance fades away. We have to check it. I see a person is handsome or beautiful. That guy will remain beautiful all the time? Answer is no. I may have been handsome 40 years ago, but now I have gray beard. Now after fast forward another 20 years. I'm 65, so fast forward 20 years. That weird guy. Was good. Some would say good, some would say, okay, he was talking too much. Realize here and now the change. So when you realize here and now what you are doing, you are crushing your ego. Don't get scared of it. We all have to leave the body. So this is what the verse number 3, one is able to relate to others with respect rather than as an object of gratification. So what happens in discernment? What happens to your cognitive ability? You see the situation, people, and relationship out of respect, out of care. You become a giver. The ego is a taker. Ego is a consumer. Think. You need not to struggle hard to get rid of, say, for example, the binge eating or lust. Both are equated. I have to apply the discernment. I have to do the Bhaj Govind. Think. Now you all are seekers. You have voluntarily joined. I'm not talking to those people who are deeply addicted to something. For you, it is easy. So that is what the verse number 3 talks about. Verse number 4 is such a beautiful verse. I'm repeating it, and just remember, the water on the lotus leaf is very unsteady. Our life is very unsteady. Just remember. You are blaming someone and you remember, oh, life is very unsteady. Whether the person I'm blaming will continue to survive tomorrow or I don't know. What you're doing, you are hammering the attachment. You are hammering your egoistic statement. You're hammering it. That is why, it is hammer the delusion. Oh, life is not to blame and complain until your intellect is clear. Why should I live in anxiety? Where? Why? Why should I be sensitive? We don't question, so it continues. So now you relate it. Water on the lotus leaf is very unsteady. So the life is extremely unstable. And once you think in that way, at least you start thinking in moment of your anxiety, blame, and delusion, you will discover that your mind has become lighter and lighter. The 5th verse that we have covered, I covered all the 5 verses, then we will go to the 6th verse. How should I explain this in a different way? But let me say it literally. As long as the 5th verse says, as long as we have the ability, say for example, to earn money, to talk, so long people may be dependent on us. Dependent means they feel attached to us. Attachment means that they will so-called care us. And the moment that ability is not there, nobody cares. So I have to recognize this. Say, for example, I stop talking. Some people say beard guy is good, beard guy is bad, and after a few weeks and months, you will forget. Gone. Finished. This happens to everyone. Starting from the Rockefeller, who was the richest guy in US 50, 70 years ago, according to even the modern index. I think David knows this. Rockefeller was the richest guy. American government forced him to diversify and separate his businesses. Even Elon Musk and Bill Gates could not reach to his stature. How many people remember? No one is going to remember. Why we are using these statements? I want to use these statements to crush my ego, to hammer the attachment. to have a right perception. Only then. It does not mean that, oh, ability, I'm attached to the wealth. So I should leave the wealth. That means I'm detached to the wealth. That is the wrong perception. That is a false assumption. Attachment lives here. Wealth is not chasing me. I'm chasing the wealth. You see the discernment, the way it works in life. These are the 5 verses, and we will talk about the 6th verse. Close your eyes next week, my friend. Eyes are closed. I believe if you have any issue of being comfortable and being carefree, I will restart it again, but I don't see that there is any issue when I say being comfortable. So what you do, you do nothing. You're just aligning your body and you feel. What do you feel? You remember sensation, comfort, and steadiness, my friends. Even if the talk and the discussion that we had just now have brought that calmness and peace in your mind, you understand, you have understood the power of these principles. You are noting down, that's a wonderful. You can use the same, you can listen to it, and you can. I pay more understand, not why I pay, but every master says understanding. Can I say something? Understanding the understanding. Repeat the understanding in your mind, the way you want to do it. Meditation will happen naturally. So being comfortable, sensation, comfort, and steadiness is there. So I'm relating, you see, association, mind associates. So association principle, the sensation, comfort, and steadiness at the physical level, at the level of the body, and being carefree at the mental level. So just remind, who cares me? Mind. No one cares outside. I tell you frankly. Even if you say my honey, I'm not saying in a negative way, my honey cares me too much, takes care of me, everything, because it is the mind that recognizes. If the mind doesn't recognize that way, so carefree is the very subtle level of discernment. I have separated all the thoughts the way I separate the traffic from my. And once you have that level of awareness, and when you start this mantra, it has a tremendous effect. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Can you contemplate and reflect what it means to you? I think I have explained more than 50 different ways. So there, when you are consistently learning and listening, that will help you. Happiness is our essential nature, and if it is essential nature, then it is intrinsic and essential nature. It cannot be taken away by anyone. So it is my essential nature too. Yes. So why other is crazy over me? Because he sees peace and happiness is outside, I see it inside. So I need not to control any, I need not to tolerate anyone. I'm already in calm and peace. Remember this. You see another way? Sarvesham, Sarvesham, Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham, Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. You can apply the same reasoning. I told you, you hammer the delusion, which is an intellectual process in the first. You clear your mind and followed by the practice. Apply the same logic. You see a person in anxiety, or you see yourself in anxiety. But peace is intrinsic in nature, peace is within me. These mantra reminds me. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Delusion divides, creates a duality in us. Real self recognizes that I am complete in myself. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be an auspiciousness. Existence is always blessing us. Grace. We don't recognize in the presence of a delusion. Every circumstances, every situation is an opportunity for me to raise my awareness, to live in higher awareness. Adversity, I live in higher awareness. Why? I recognize that I was living in a lower awareness, and that's why I had a sense of worries and anxiety. Look at it, my friends. It should become a play and a fun for you. Instant play and fun for you. Look inside the forehead, in the space, start breathing, start saying Om Shanti and start breathing, quick and gentle breath through the rib cage. And continue to pay attention if you are breathing equally through both the nostrils, even the fast breathing. That would be a wonderful thing. Remember, inhalation expands your rib cage. Exhalation squeezes your rib cage. You're breathing through both the nostrils, and yet at the same time, you're also dropping Om Shanti inside the forehead. Continue the journey, maintaining your awareness if both the breathing to both the nostrils are equal. If it is not equal, it becomes equal. When? That is what we have to recognize. I'll talk about it. Just continue the breathing. Many changes, many sensations, many vision. Be with it. You need not to worry about it. And now stop this, do nothing. So, in doing nothing, pay attention to the flow of the breath. Register any memory of resistance to the breathing, and if there is no resistance, what it means, you can do it for a longer period. Why? To go deeper. At the same time, just recognize and aware of the changes that you experience. And again, going to Om Shanti deep inside the forehead, and then start breathing from the belly. It's a longer breath. You inhale, the belly expands. You exhale, the belly contracts. In a couple of few sessions, I will talk less and I will extend the period of practice of meditation, and we will see, can we continue that state for a longer period. So that will also help us to understand if the mind is changing from inside or not. So continue breathing into the belly. Continue breathing, being aware whether the flow of the nostril is equal. Om Shanti continues. It keeps your mind within. It helps you to live in higher awareness. We continue until we find now there is no need of the breathing. Here, breathing into the belly, Om Shanti continues. Body lives in the state of steadiness. There are three levels of awareness of the breathing, of the body, and of the mind. Om Shanti. Now leave the breathing, pay attention to the flow of the breath. And if the flow of the breath in one nostril is low, slow or less, you just pay attention there. And you will see that within few seconds now, the flow of the breath becomes equal. If it doesn't become equal, we need to practice a lot. What a beautiful state you all are in. At least the body is steady, looking inside the forehead again. Om Shanti continues. And start breathing both from the belly and the rib cage, long, deep, and the hissing sound. Flow of the breath, you are aware of it. If it is equal, wonderful. If it is not equal, you are doing the practice. That too is wonderful. Steadiness in the body, long, deep, and the hissing breath. And Om Shanti continues. Now stop it, do not think. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. And my friends, this week, pay attention to these three types of the breathing. And when you are doing on your own, even listening to the tape audio, and when you see the breath has an equal flow, just stay there for a longer period and see how longer you can stay. You know what happens? Your breath becomes deep, silent, and slow. Start breathing deep, silent, and slow. We have been doing the niyas. So basically, the niyas naturally happens, which I introduced in the very beginning. So what we do in the niyas, you start inhaling deep, silent, slow, moving the mind from the top of the head into the spine, reaching to the tailbone and singing mentally Om Shanti. Mental singing. During exhalation, your mind moves from the tailbone, it rises, reaches to the top of the head. Om Shanti. We are not leaving the mind, or we are not leaving any loophole from where the mind can fall into delusion, especially during the practice and also during the discussion. Someday, maybe your mind says, no, I don't want to think about it. I don't want to listen. So can you really take over the mind by the breathing, by these three breathing, followed by the fourth one is the nyas, until you find the flow of the breath becomes equal. You'll get out of the delusion. I promise you. Beautiful. And now, Om Shanti on the 16 segments of a finger. You are dropping, and you are fully aware. You're not touching those segments physically, means you're not engaging the sense organs outward. It's a mind's eye, it's a mind's ear, it's a mind's tongue, it's a mind's touch. It's dropping Om Shanti. Instant visualization or feeling or seeing or touch, mental touch of the finger. Om Shanti. Om Shanti continues. Don't you enjoy that state? I have to rethink and contemplate. Oh, if I enjoy that state of, why shouldn't I do the practice regularly? And I'll leave this, go to the triangle, move the mind deep inside the cave of your heart. Thought image of a triangle. What I'm saying, it's a thought image. You cannot see the triangle as you see through the sense organ. And Om Shanti, moving the mind on a triangle with Om Shanti, gently checking. You have a sync. The moment you have a sync, push the mind with a long mental Om, passing through the triangle into the cave of the heart. Mind seemingly stops. You say Shanti and self-absorption. Why I say mind seemingly stops? Mind cannot stop. Mind is a matter. Anything that is matter is constantly changing. Why I say seemingly stop? Behind that, we discover in the state of self-absorption, where we feel unchanging identity. And if any thought pops up into mind, it distracts your attention, you return again to the triangle, and then self-absorption. See, now the rein of the meditation is in your hand, not in mine. That is the role of a teacher of the Eastern wisdom, who are obviously well versed with the teachings. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down, my friends. We'll share our experiences. If you have any doubt or question, you can ask. How are you, David?
Very good, sir. Thank you. The lesson, I really enjoyed the lesson, but going into the meditation, I just had this power of discernment, and I just was with myself, and I have just been an observer of thoughts that came along. And by the time we went into the heart, I just saw indigo, and I was just lost. And in fact, I was startled when you started singing Om Shanti at the end. So it's very, very, very deep and peaceful.
Very deep and peaceful. Remember, one is very important point. I take the important points when you share your experiences. The discernment should continue during the practice of meditation. that will only keep your thoughts away. If you don't keep the discernment, thoughts will never go. I'm saying no. My master, or every master is saying. That is a good way of realizing. How are you, Jerry? Yes.
Thank you, sir. Yes, calm, peaceful. Again, my mind kind of likes those metaphors and analogies and relating it back to nursing. We used to have our regular patients that would come in the emergency department, and they'd either come in, the regulars would come in because they just wanted the attention, care, some of them were addicts, so that repeat behavior and clinging, and you always treated them the same, right?
Yeah. That is
And
discernment.
For us, I feel like that's our opportunity, is if we're blaming, complaining, if we want more of something, if, oh, that felt so good, that touch, that whatever it was, that's also ignorance, as much as the pain and the suffering is.
Yeah.
So it's that clinging to nothing,
Yeah.
nothing, nobody. And it doesn't mean we don't care. We care about everything,
Yeah.
but we don't care about anything.
Yes, you're right. We don't care about our blame, complain. Even if my mind blames and complains, or other minds blame and complain, we just maintain the coolness and calmness. But at the same time, we care. The real care always comes from that state of the mind which lives in discernment. It always lives into that state. It's a beautiful way of saying it. How are you, Stephen?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
My meditation was extremely deep and peaceful. Very similar to what David and Jerry have pointed out. And I think the reason why, again, I spent a lot of time contemplating, reflecting, and looking and observing and applying and whatnot. And you started this off with this concept of perception again, and of course, with perception comes reality. And so I'm looking at this perception reality concept again and applying it to the Eastern wisdom and realizing that, yes, the perception has everything to do with the mind and is how it's interpreted and all the things that we've learned of the mind's influence. And I was able today to really put the reality into being here with myself.
Yeah.
That the only reality is the peace, the happiness, the truth, and the wisdom. So therefore, measuring and seeing and viewing everything on the outside from the inside out rather than the outside in is the way to really view this thing. And it just made me settle in to say the ego and desire does not live in here. It's only here.
Beautiful.
So if I could just look at everything from the inside out, it's only truth, it's only the wisdom, it's only peace, and it's only happiness. And everything else just doesn't matter.
What a beautiful way of narration. You all have started contemplating and reflecting. And that is how our mind has started changing. I can tell you one thing, that one point. My perception is one, that the way Stephen has explained. Another is that my mind, even after understanding the reality is here, and it is here and now, the mind is still wandering outside. It is a very subtler layer of awareness, but it comes. It comes through the discernment, it comes through the contemplation, reflection, it comes through the practice. And perception minus delusion. Delusion is also a perception. Do you see that? Delusion is also a perception. So we are living in a perception minus delusion. That is what I always want you to explain, so that you become your own teacher. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you. Deep, seamless, almost effortless meditation. Very comfortable and pleasant. Really no effort switching stages like when you said go to the niyas. And I just found that I'm already in this mode of very slow breathing, moving into the spine. So the very natural switching and flow of the meditation.
Beautiful. So everything flows naturally. That is also a perception. You see, this is also a perception. Beautiful. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. I had an experience today of there's a different reality I experience in meditation than with eyes open, living life, but that's the real reality to be in, and that living in the moment is actually means noticing the attachment you might have in that moment to be able to let that go. That seemed to land for me today.
Yes, you are explaining a different way, but it is the same thing. Now every day I see the world, I have a different perception of the world. World is the same. People are the same. Events are the same. But my mind says, no, live in that, be in calmness. Don't worry. This is the way the world is. So my perception has changed about the world. That is a wonderful way to, wonderful way to put it. How are you, Brandy?
Good, thanks. I paired the lesson today with the lesson on Saturday, two pretty simple concepts that are not always easy to apply, but the notion that we have to do our own work and that the things outside don't really care. I mean, and then it really hit when you said today, like, don't you enjoy being in this state of meditation? Yes, but still the mind wants to go out and try to find other things to enjoy that aren't lasting, that are, cause problems and all of that. So pretty simple, not so simple, not so easy.
Yeah, I always talk simple because I'm a simple guy. But very, very challenging to apply. And you rightly said you have to maintain that awareness. When I live into that state of meditation, is it not simple? Oh, yes, it's so simple. The way you all explain. But the mind is waiting to return outside into the world of delusion. And that is why the consistency is required. Regular practice is required. Once we awaken to that state of the consciousness and the mind, we are done with it. How are you, Vaibhav? Oh, how are you, Terry? Oh, let me take Terry first, and then I'll talk to Vaibhav.
It was light, kind of light, for me, rather not so deep, but it was calm and deep.
Yes.
And like you said, a lot of things were waiting for me outside the meditation, and they were trying to distract me.
Oh.
The things, there are things that I have to deal with.
Oh.
But I was able to do it and put them aside.
Yeah.
I think my mind kept going out, and I kept bringing it back.
Calmness.
And it was good.
Good. Calmness and peace. Let the time come, or you do the practice until you have 100% discernment with the body. What that means, I'm not the body. You live into that state of perception. Then I will ask you whether you have a problem or not.
Yeah, sometimes my muscles contract and my hands will move, almost like if I try to multitask.
Yeah.
I'll get to do the Om Shanti. And I'll go, oh yeah, I'm Shanti. Then I'll keep breathing. And
Yes,
then my
yes.
muscle will contract.
Yes,
And a lot of silly stuff like that.
yes, you are getting it. Wonderful. Wonderful. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So practice was absorbed. It's like that there was a consistent awareness was there that I'm not bound to this thought, and it makes my mind free, and it was let the thought go away. It was purely calm.
Yeah. Now you see that I want to relate to this what Brandy was saying that do you enjoy that state? Yes, but still the mind is waiting to go out. So at that moment, if the discernment is there, oh, why you are going outside? You have a peace here. We teach and talk to our toddlers. We also talk to our pets. Why are you going there? Come on. But we forget to tell our mind. How are you, Ashok?
Thank you, sir. I am peace and calm.
Peace and calm. Yes, listen to it again and again and again. So, and do the practice. And
I understand the key. Discernment is the key for the success of meditation.
Yes. Discernment, viveka is the key to this. Not judgment. Discernment.
Not judgment.
Yeah. Not judgment. If the judgment is there, then I will have likes and dislikes, blame, complaint, reaction, duality, and I will fall further into the delusion. First is the discernment, and from that perspective I see. So almost everyone have that element of the discernment by which you have started sharing the experiences, and I'm so happy with it. We'll continue our journey in the next session on Thursday. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.